Hello everybody, this is Tim here again, here with the next movie review. This time actually for two movie reviews in one video. Oppenheimer and Barbie. I decided to do the Barbenheimer double feature basically. That's all the rage on the internet right now. But I decided to do a double feature of it. I figured what the hell. And like always, I'm always fair and honest with all my opinions. So let's just jump into Oppenheimer first. Oppenheimer was amazing. I thought it was a masterpiece. It's now my second favorite Nolan film after Inception. Inception, still top tier for me, my favorite Nolan film. Dark Knight is number 3. Dark Knight used to be number 1, but that was mostly because I'm a Batman fan, but I'm also a Nolan fan. So in terms of like being a pure Nolan fan, Dark Knight is number 3 for me, Inception is number 1, and this is number 2. But all three of these are amazing films. And I can see why anybody would have like either one of them as their favorite Nolan film. But yeah, Oppenheimer was amazing. It isn't absolutely flawless. Every film has some flaws. The film is a bit too long, and there are at least 2 to 3 spots where the film could have ended. And I do think it probably would have helped the film if it was told in maybe a bit linear fashion, where it was just told strict from Oppenheimer's point of view, so we could have like followed him through the whole movie. But really, it kind of jumps around a bit. But Oppenheimer is still the star of the movie and still gets the most screen time and character development. And he starts off pretty much not caring about the war or anything or making the bomb and all that, and he finally eventually does it, and eventually he starts to regret it and then trying to champion for like better control over the weapon and everything. And Robert Downey Jr. becomes like the villain of the movie in the second half. But yeah, it's an extremely long movie. It is a bit too long, but by the time it actually does wrap up, it wraps up in a really cool way by showing like the bombs, so like of the future, of how they become even more advanced and more dangerous and all that. And he's like talking to Einstein, Oppenheimer is Cillian Murphy's character. And he's like, I think we did destroy the world, you know, and he's like showing the scenes from the future with all the new bombs and everything. But yeah, amazing movie. Easily the best film I've seen in the last few years. Easily the best film that's in theaters right now. Amazing film. Easily a 4 out of 4 film. Masterpiece of a flick. People clapped at the end of the film when I watched it in theaters. Like I said, though, just problems. It is a bit too long. And some of the stuff, like Oppenheimer being like a womanizer and all that, does kind of make his character a little bit unlikable. But that's the thing, though, that I appreciate about the movie. Well, that may bother some viewers. It didn't really bother me, but I just brought it up because it may bother some viewers. But he is like a womanizer. He's pretty much cheating on his wife, who's Emily Blunt. And he cheats on her with like Florence Pugh, who's like this communist girl or whatever. And actually ends up committing suicide when he blows her off or ends the relationship. But they never really like go into like his marriage and everything, or why he's cheating on his wife and all that kind of stuff. They just show it, but it's not. They don't really go into detail about why he's doing that kind of stuff. But it is there, and you get to see Florence Pugh's boobs, so yeah, they look good, no problem there. But yeah, overall in terms of the movie though, it is a masterpiece film with some minor flaws. Easily the best film that's out right now in theaters, in my opinion. But it's not going to be for everybody. If you're not interested in the bomb, like the making of the bomb and all that, and the person who did it and what went on in the past and all that between all the people and the president being involved in this, then you may not like this movie. Not because you think it's bad, but just because it just won't be for you, which is fine. Me, I can appreciate any film of any subject matter as long as it's told well, and this film is told extremely well. And you got Gary Oldman, who shows up as the president, Harry Truman in the movie, which was really cool. That was really cool, seeing him as the president. He's in some unrecognizable makeup, and he pops up for a few seconds, kind of acts like an asshole. But yeah, overall, 4 out of 4 for Oppenheimer. It is easily the best film out right now, and I highly recommend it. Next up is Barbie. Barbie, I would also give a 4 out of 4. It is a great, fun movie. Not a flawless, perfect film, but a great, fun movie. It is not an amazing movie like Oppenheimer, but they're totally different films. I'm not trying to compare them. I'm just trying to, clarify. It's not as good as Oppenheimer, but it's not supposed to be. It's not trying to reach that kind of level of cinematic amazingness, but it is a great film. The cast does really well. Margot Robbie does a great job as Barbie. Ryan Gosling steals the movie, though, in an awesome performance as Ken, and he is the funniest and most entertaining part of the film. Will Ferrell does a good job as the president of Mattel, but he's kind of just in there as a joke. I'm going to change positions here real quick for a second. Yeah, sorry about that. I just wanted to adjust myself real quick there for a second, get in front of my house instead of like outside of it. But Will Ferrell, yeah, he's good as the president of Mattel or whatever. But really, the film plays itself extremely silly. Like it helps you overlook certain like plot elements and stuff like it in the movie, stuff that really doesn't make any sense because you're just having fun with it, and because the movie knows it's goofy and wears it on its sleeve and admits it. Like Barbie comes into the real world and they're like, "This will destroy everything." Will Ferrell is. He's like, "We got to catch her and put her back." Like, why? They never really explain why. And then later on in the movie, like you find out it's actually a mom that's been playing with Barbie, is like transferred her energy over to her, and that's why Barbie's becoming more human in the Barbie world and is starting to say stuff like, "Do you ever think about death?" and all that. and she has to like go into the real world basically to cheer up and you know, lighten up the person who owns her owner, so she will start feeling like stereotypical Barbie again. That's the thing, she plays stereotypical Barbie and Ryan Gosling's stereotypical Ken, so they have like no personalities basically. They're just kind of standard Barbie and Ken. There's nothing really to them, like all the other Barbies who all do have personalities and job positions, everything, like President Barbie and all that. And they make jokes about like the discontinued lines of Barbies and stuff, like Pregnant Barbie that never caught on. Later Will Ferrell's like, oh, I thought we discontinued that one. That was pretty funny. And you got this one character who's played by Michael Cera who's just called Alan. They never made any more Alans. That was pretty funny. But yeah, it's like Barbie trying to go to the real world to find her human companion. You know, and coincidentally, it turns out to be a woman who actually works at the company of Mattel, which I thought was a little much, a little too coincidental there. And overall, she like ends up teaming up with Barbie later to like bring her back to Barbie World, so the suits won't capture her, who are also trying to bring her back to Barbie World. So there's some flaws in the logic here of this plot. It doesn't really make any sense why Will Ferrell and his men are even after her. They never explain why or ever give a reason, and they never give a reason why the human counterpart or whatever to Barbie, the human who owns her, they never give a reason why she's trying to actually help her. They really never explain it at all. But the movie gets by with it because it's fun. It's just really funny, and like there's a lot of good comedy scenes, like when Will Ferrell and his men are chasing after Barbie inside the Mattel Corporation. They're like jumping at her and trying to catch her, and Will Ferrell's acting really goofy. It's really funny, and he's like trying to get through this gate or whatever, and he doesn't realize he can just step over it, and he's like, quick, somebody give me their card. It's pretty funny. Ryan Gosling sings the song "I'm Just Ken," which is pretty hilarious, and you get some jokes where he's like, let's have a beach off Ken," like he keeps arguing with this other Ken who's Asian, who's played by the actor Samuel Liu or whatever, from Shang-Chi, which he does a good job here too. All the acting is good to great. Nobody's bad here. Kate McKinnon as Weird Barbie. Like, I will say this about the film. It is a bit preachy. It is a feminist film. It does try to play strictly to a female audience, about female themes and feminist themes, which I don't mind. It's a film geared specifically towards women. I get it. I get why you would do that kind of stuff. Could they have just made a fun standard Barbie movie about her just coming into the real world and just being like a fish out of water? Yeah, they could have, and it probably would have been more fun. But overall, for the film that they did go with, I think it helps it stand out a bit more. Even though it probably isn't as fun as what a standard Barbie movie could have been. But for what it is, I do like the fact that they tried to do more with the film. And I get why you would want to bring up like women's issues and all that about Barbie and everything, because it is, you know, the Barbie doll itself has been the subject of like feminist discussions and everything about how it presents like unrealistic, you know, ideas of femininity and everything, and how women should be and all that. And they call that out in the movie. And they call out other stuff too about the contradictions of like being female and all that, and feminism itself, about how, you know, you can't be so thin. I mean, you have to be thin, but you can't be too thin, and all that, and all this other stuff, all these biases about women and everything. They call it out. It does get a bit too preachy, and it does become too long of a speech towards the end, and all throughout the movie it is a bit too preachy. But for the most part, they play it up for laughs, because they know this is pretty much a sugar-coated, sillier movie. But at the same time, though, they do get a bit too preachy and is on the nose at points. And some of the jokes about it do work, because when Ken comes to the real world, he's also a blank slate, has no idea what he wants to be, and he reads a book about patriarchy and how women are keeping men down. And so he just automatically assumes he's going to be the dominant one there because he's a man. And he like goes to jobs and he's like, just hire me. And they're like, do you have a degree? The guy says, and he goes, I'm a man, just give me the job. And they're like, we can't do that. It's pretty funny. Like, they make jokes about the patriarchy like not being as like big or impactful or whatever as people actually like claim it is on the internet and stuff. Like, they do make jokes about it. And when they get the Barbie world and Barbie gets back, Ken's like taking over with the other Kens, and they're enslaved the Barbies and making them cook and clean and bring them brewskis and everything, and they're talking about the Godfather all day. And the Kens are actually watching the Godfather, which was pretty funny. Yeah, it's entertaining. And of course, when Barbie gets back, she has to help deprogram them all and then snap Ken out of it. And she apologizes to Ken just because she also treated him like an asshole through the movie. And they do show the Barbies as being somewhat asshole-ish, like towards the other like women too in the movie. Like, there's this one called Weird Barbie, played by Kate McKinnon, who's like magical. You can transport them from the Barbie world to the real world and like tell them how to do it, basically. Not so much transport them, but tell them how to get there, pretty much. And like I said, they never really explain the rules of like how Barbie world exists. It's just some alternate dimension. They even like make jokes about it in the movie about how it makes no sense. So like I said, this is a comedy. It tries to be deeper than that, but it's really surface level, and that's one of the problems I have with the film, is the feminism jokes and or feminism like social commentary and stuff in the film is good for the most part, but it does get too preachy, and it is a bit too surface level. Like, they bring it up, but they never really delve deeper into it about how we can have more gender equality and stuff like that, or how we can solve these problems and all that. They never really do much with it at all. So it's just kind of surface level, really, even though it's pushed to the forefront in a lot of spots in the movie. They never really do much with it besides just call it out and say that we, shouldn't be bound by our gender identities or whatever gender roles that people want us to play, like the standard, strong man or the standard cooking and cleaning woman or whatever, which that's fine. That makes sense. But it could have been more than just surface level, is what I'm saying. You get to the end and she's like telling Ken she's sorry for everything she put him through and how she shouldn't have like been an asshole towards him as well and all that. And they apologize to Weird Barbie for also treating her like shit. Kate McKinnone's character, which Kate McKinnone's actually pretty cute here, and she's fun here. She was good on Saturday Night Live too. She wasn't that great in the Ghostbusters 2016 movie, but that's that script though. I don't really blame her for that, but she's good here. Overall, though, the movie is a 4 out of 4 fun film. Ryan Gosling steals the show, especially with his song like I'm Just Ken and all that. And he's got a shirt on at the end that says I'm Ken Enough, which is also pretty funny. And at the end of the movie, it pretty much ends with Barbie telling him that you shouldn't let me define you and all that. You don't need your boyfriend or girlfriend to tell you who you are or whatever. Just figure out who you want to be, basically. Don't let any gender roles or anything else define you. Just be who you want to be. Like, the movie does not preach, like, hate all men or whatever. It does bring up, like, I'm sorry if you hear my dogs barking in the background. And the movie does not preach like hate all men or whatever, but it does bring up like it's more negative towards like men stereotypes or like misogynistic men and all that kind of stuff, which makes sense why it would be. But what I'm saying is it focuses more on that, so it seems slightly more mean-spirited towards men. But that's only because really that's a female issues movie, and you're kind of going to get that automatically if you're going to focus directly on these kind of feminism themes. There's really no way around it. Unless you can do it like absolutely perfectly grafted, but they kind of do get a little bit too mean-spirited towards the man or whatever, and some of the man humor and all that. But overall, other than being a little bit too preachy and being a bit too surface level, I had fun with it. I'd give it a 4 out of 4. It's a great fun movie. It's not a masterpiece or anything. It's not an awesome film, but it's a great fun film, and I really hope it leads to like a Ken spinoff, because he would be hysterical in his own film. Ryan Gosling easily is awesome here, best part humor-wise of the film. And the movie ends with Barbie deciding to become human and live in the real world because she wants to experience real human emotions or whatever, and Ken just stays in Barbie land. He gets to be Ken. So yeah, you could pretty much have a Ken movie right after this, and even make jokes about Mattel's like makes jokes about doing a Ken spin-off movie in this movie, which is pretty funny. So yeah, overall 4 out of 4, great fun movie. Not a masterpiece and not an awesome movie, but a great fun movie, and I can see why people are enjoying it. I don't see why people would love it, maybe kids, but I see why people would enjoy it. But it is definitely a film geared towards women, which is fine. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you again.